Here's yet another color model. This is one that I recommend you take the time to really get comfortable with, because it's a quite intuitive model and it's the easiest one to use. HSB stands for hue, saturation, and brightness. This relies on the standard way that all colors defined, which you learned in a previous slide. You can see an example of how you would specify in HSB the same orange color we've been looking at in the last two slides in the Photoshop color panel. Each of the three sliders highlighted in red controls one of the three HSB parameters. I'll cover what those hue, saturation, and brightness numbers actually mean in the next slide. It's also known as HSL or HSV in some software. Unlike hexadecimal, which is just another way to formulate RGB numbers, HSB is a different and more intuitive way to conceptualize color. The three numbers in HSB mean something totally different from the three RGB numbers, as you'll see in the next slide. RGB is an additive color model, that is, three primary colors are added together to make all the other colors, whereas HSB is a perceptual model, which is based on the way color is perceived. It's the way I like to specify color when I'm working in a graphics program. I wouldn't know necessarily what a color looks like if I'm just given the RGB numbers, but if you give me the HSB numbers, I can roughly visualize it as an actual color. It's important to understand that the color space of RGB and HSB is the same. That is, they share the same spectrum of possible colors. The means of defining them is very different, but the colors themselves are the same. When working in HSB, the numbers are always converted to RGB behind the scenes before they're sent to a computer display, so the displays can understand and render them. As you learned earlier, hue simply answers the question, what color is it? Normally, a color wheel is used to depict the universe of colors, though this has some limitations. Hue is expressed as a number of degrees on the outside of a color wheel, like the one shown here. It starts at 0 degrees for red, which is at the 3 o'clock position. The hue values follow a counterclockwise direction. 0 degrees is red, 120 degrees is green, and 240 degrees is blue. As you learned earlier, saturation represents the intensity of the color. As you move towards the center of a color wheel, the intensity fades. The color becomes more muted. In other words, as you move towards the center, you are desaturating it by mixing it with gray ink. Saturation is expressed as a number between 0 and 100%. So here's a challenge question for you. You should be able to remember this from an earlier slide. Pause the video so you can think of what these numbers would look like. When you have an idea for the answer, check it by unpausing the video. Congratulate yourself if you got it correct. 0% is gray. 100% is pure color is the answer. 0% simply means an absence of a particular hue, meaning pure gray. 100% is the full expression of that particular hue without any grayness mixed in. Go back to the Properties of Color slide and review the concept of hue if you need to. As you learned earlier, brightness simply answers the question, how bright is the color? Note that brightness cannot be represented on the color wheel. It's a separate parameter, controlled via a slider below the color wheel and the screen capture at right. It's labeled as opacity, but this is confusing because opacity is usually meant to describe transparency, not brightness. Brightness is expressed as a number between 0 and 100%. Here's another challenge question for you. As with the previous question, you should be able to remember this from an earlier slide. Pause the video so you can think of what these numbers would look like. When you think you have an answer, check it by unpausing the video. Congratulate yourself if you got it correct. 0% is black, 100% is color at full intensity is the answer. 0% simply means an absence of any color whatsoever, no matter what the hue or saturation, meaning pure black. 100% is the most intense expression of a color with a particular hue and saturation without any black mixed in. Go back to the Properties of Color slide and review the concept of brightness if you need to. So here's a final challenge question for you. Pause the video so you can think of what these numbers would look like. When you think you have an answer, check it by unpausing the video. Congratulate yourself if you got it correct. The answer is that the hue doesn't matter. White does not have any hue. 0% saturation means that whatever the hue is completely drowned out by gray. No particular color stands out against any other color. It's completely neutral. That is the essence of white. You could actually say that white is a form of pure gray. Then you need 100% brightness because white is fully light. It's the opposite of dark. 0% brightness is black, no matter what the hue and saturation values are. Here's a skills application challenge. Open the graphics program you most commonly use and find where in that program you set HSB colors. Play around with it for a while until you're comfortable using it, and then go to the next video.